as Nigeria takes measures to provide adequate infrastructure to enhance economic diversification. CNBC Africa caught up with Abiodun Utola, Managing Director, Planet Projects, organizers of the Maiden International Rail Conference in Lagos, to examine how stakeholders can jointly re-engineer the rail industry.
We only have an act of parliament, Nigerian Railway Act, that empowers only the NRC to be the sole constructor, operator, and managers of railway system in Nigeria. So no private sector or any other person can go into this business without talking to Nigeria Railway Corporation. So this is a major disincentive for private operators and investors in the industry. The second issue, I think, is also that we still don't have enough capacity in country. People that understand the railway industry, how it works. We don't have enough professionals. A lot of the people we have are people that were trained in the age of Nigeria Railway Corporation. Railway industry have gone very, very high-tech. I mean, if you see what is going on all around the world, in Germany, in London, I mean, we know that we're not where we should be at all. There's a high level of infusion of ITS, IT and telecoms into the railway industry. So we are not near that as well. Another problem, of course, we have is funding. Funding, of course, is a big challenge. However, I mean, the Chinese government have been very supportive of this over the years. They've been putting a lot of money investment into the railway industry in Nigeria. And that is helping, actually, to drive the current growth that we are seeing. So many projects are going on in Nigeria. Kano State is also putting a project together. Kaduna wants to do, Oyo State, Ogun State. And then we have the federal government spending a whooping $10 billion on Lagos, Kano, Lagos, Calabar. I mean, Abuja, Kaduna has just been completed. So these are various opportunities that are happening. But however, there's less reporting. There's what I'll call under-reporting of the sector. That's one issue. And then the other issue is that a lot of people don't even know what is going on. And because people are not aware, they are not able to key into this industry. So we are beginning to see another silo industry like the oil and gas. You know, a situation where there's so much money being spent, but it's not trickling down. So to address this issue, we're saying that at this formative stage where this money is being spent, let's bring all the stakeholders together, and then together we can begin to identify where our all can plug in. I mean, I'll give you an example. Look at the advertising industry. It's quite very huge. I mean, TfL, Transport for London, just signed the biggest advertising deal in public transport, £1.1 billion for 7 years. And today, Nigerian advertising industry virtually do nothing within the railway industry. So that tells you where the opportunities are and where the gaps are. We cannot do anything about local content except and until we improve capacity. As we speak today, we don't have people who can play within this industry. We don't have them in large numbers. There's so many professionals that you need to get the railway system running. I mean, you need rail train operators, you need IT specialists, people are going to be in control room, you need people who are in power industry, you need people who are going to invest. Even insurance, passenger insurance is a big deal. Okay? We don't have the country experience, and that's the truth, to run a 21st century rail industry. And therefore, we need to tie up with other partners around the world, we need to tie up professionals all around the world, and perhaps that's the reason why we also have two key institutions supporting us on this conference. One of them is UITP. UITP is the largest association of public transport operators anywhere in the world. They're in 98 countries with 2,000 members. And we also have this conference being supported by Transport for London, TfL. And TfL, as you may know, is the largest urban rail operator also in the world. So this is one of the ways by which we can drive global best practices, because these guys are not going to lower their standard. And so we see that as an opportunity to bring global best practices to the rail industry. The industry is worth close to about $100 billion. Okay, if you look at what is going on now, as we speak, federal government is injecting about $20 billion. Lagos State have 7 lines. Those 7 lines are going to cost nothing less than 15 billion. Ogun State have about another 6 lines. Kaduna State wants to do, Kano wants to do. So if you look at the totality of the entire rail network in Nigeria, you are not looking at anything less than $100 billion. And then that's just the project itself. And one of the things I've always said is that we should stop seeing railway as a project, we should see it as a development. This is what I mean. If you take a railway corridor, you should not just focus on the tracks alone, focus on the entire corridor. I mean, in other part of the world, anytime you see railway, you see developments. You see real estates around the corridors, around the stations. You see industries planted around it, so that it's easy for you to move your goods by the train into the city center. So that's the kind of thing we need to look at. And if you look at the entire value chain, you then realize that what we're talking about, even more than $100 billion. I mean, I'll give you an example. Look at Kaduna, Abuja. That is an opportunity to link the two cities together. So a lot of people can be working in Kaduna, and actually, working in Abuja and living in Kaduna. And the same thing can happen in between these two cities. You can have farmland between those areas. You can have industry. So that is the kind of value chain that we're talking about here. And if you quantify all of that and put in the entire economic case, you will see that this is quite an humongous industry. In terms of employment, I can't agri-less is quite huge. You know, you need to train drivers, you need to have IT specialists, you need to have operation and maintenance specialists, you have bankers who are going to finance, you need to have lawyers. So it's a very huge industry. In UK, you have more than 300,000 people working in the rail industry, direct employment. We're not talking about suppliers and other people that do different things. We should consciously, you know, things don't just happen, we should consciously plant some of our farmlands along this corridor. So because part of the problem is, one thing is for you to produce, another thing for you to distribute and transport. Now, in Nigeria, what we found that the cost of distribution is about 30% of most of your goods that you're buying. And because it's inefficient, so the cost is very high. In other countries, they use rail transport to move goods from one point of the country to the other. So if we put our farmland strategically along rail corridors, the cost of transporting goods and even farmland will be cheaper. And then you can even site your industry, agro-allied industry, around the same rail corridor. And it's easy for you to move both the produce and then the finished product into the city center and distribute at a cheaper cost. And it will have positive impact, not only cost of goods, even the disposable income. If instead of people paying 100 naira for good, they can pay 30 naira. And that way, you have a better, more money in their pocket and they can participate more in the economy.